Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're talking about topic 2.12, the bureaucracy. In this lesson, you're going to learn what the bureaucracy is, what the bureaucracy does, and how the bureaucracy came to be. So we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get started. The bureaucracy is a large, complex organization in which non-political employees have specific job responsibilities and work within a hierarchy of authority. So, the bureaucracy promotes professionalism, specialization, and neutrality, and it exists within a hierarchy. There's always somebody's boss over somebody's boss over somebody's boss over somebody's boss. In this diagram, you should hopefully be able to see that the bureaucracy is headed by the executive branch. So how is the bureaucracy structured? So we're going to talk about 4 different units within the bureaucracy. And the first are cabinet departments. Cabinet departments are headed by secretaries within the president's cabinet, and there are 15 total. Each cabinet department has a broadly defined special area of policy, and themselves are divided up into bureaus, divisions, and sections. Independent agencies resemble cabinet departments, but are much smaller and have a narrower scope of responsibility. While they're called independent, they're not independent of the president. They're independent of a cabinet department. One example of an independent agency is NASA. Regulatory commissions are responsible for regulating parts of the economy, making rules for large businesses and industries that affect the public. Because of this, they are typically not under the direct control of the president. Most are commissions, which have about 5 to 11 members that are appointed by the president, but the president can't remove them for the length of their actual term. Some examples of regulatory commissions are the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC. They regulate the stock market. The Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, which guards over the nation's environment, and the Federal Reserve Board, which governs monetary policy. The last unit that we're going to talk about are government corporations. Government corporations do not belong to any department, and they stand completely on their own. These entities charge fees for their service. Some examples are the post office and Amtrak. You still have to pay to send a letter. So what does the bureaucracy actually do? Well, they write and enforce regulations based on legislation that's been passed. They issue fines to people who are not following those regulations. They testify before Congress, and they develop relationships through issue networks and iron triangles. So what are those? An issue network is a temporary collaboration of policy experts, media, congressional staffs, and interest groups who represent private business around a specific issue. These relationships are loose and informal, and again, they are temporary. Iron triangles, on the other hand, are long-term alliances. They're iron between an administrative agency, an interest group, and a congressional committee. These iron triangles provide key services, information, or policy. And you can see in this diagram an example of an iron triangle. At first, the bureaucracy only consisted of 3 departments: State for diplomacy, Treasury for money, and the Department of War, which was for, war. We quickly moved into a system known as the patronage or spoil system, as in, to the victor go the spoils. Each president would replace much of the bureaucracy with their friends and party members, no matter whether or not they were actually qualified for the job. This changed in 1801 after President James Garfield was actually killed in office by someone who was seeking a position from him. Congress quickly responded and passed the Pendleton Act, which created a merit-based civil service. Now, each position within the bureaucracy is filled based on merit through a qualification exam, except, of course, for those top-tier positions like the department secretaries. Throughout the 20th century, the public called for more regulation of business. the public wanted the government to monitor abuses of the railroad industry, child labor, food safety, and they even wanted regulation of work and living conditions for laborers. The size of the bureaucracy really took off after FDR during the implementation of the New Deal, which was meant to help spur the economy after the Great Depression. After World War II, the number of federal employees decreased, but to this day, the civilian side of the bureaucracy remains at around 2.8 million people, while the military, which is also a part of the executive branch, remains around 4.2 million people. The bureaucracy continues to change with each presidential administration. In fact, Jimmy Carter passed the Civil Service Reform Bill of 1978, the goal of which was to include more women and minorities in government. This also created the Office of Personnel Management, or OPM, which manages the merit-based hiring system. In this lesson, you should have learned what the bureaucracy is, what the bureaucracy does, and how the bureaucracy came to be. If there's anything you missed, go back and watch that part of the video again now. Then go in and answer your summarizing question in your notes so you can get a stamp the next time we're in class. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Bye.